Good morning, folks. Hope you're having a good day. So listen, I've been speaking to a number of people who are signing up to Primal, and there's a similar vibe going through their conversations, and it's all based on insecurities and sort of fears of starting a training program for the first time in maybe years. A lot of these guys I'm talking to, one of them hadn't trained in 24 years, and he's put on 6 stone since he stopped training last time. So there's a lot of fear and trepidation in their heads when it's starting. And the questions, you invariably get these questions: what exercise will we do? Will we follow a program? And they're asking me questions that probably they're out of their depth asking at this moment in time, and that's not an insult. But the reality is, when you haven't trained in a long time, then it doesn't matter what you're going to do, everything is going to work. That's simple as that. If you choose anything, HIIT, CrossFit, personal training, running, cycling, swimming, whatever it is, you're going to lose some weight, you're going to build some muscle simply because you're moving more and you're laying about less and you're burning more calories. So I genuinely say for the first 3 months, you don't have to worry about anything about what you're doing. You can come in and do a different workout every single day. Your muscles are going to be hitting a different way, and you're going to get those DOMs, and you're going to get that adaptation, and your body is going to respond very well to training. That's why you'll see these 6-week programs being pushed by the fitness industry, because we know that most people coming in for those 6-week programs haven't been doing much training for a long time, so they're going to be out of shape, they're going to have a bit of weight on them, and if we put them in a high calorie deficit and high intensity training, we're going to get some results, albeit short term, but that doesn't really matter when it comes to the gram and TikTok. All it is about getting the images up on social media so people then get hit with emotional pain points, and that then pushes people towards that gym. It's a con artist's job, but that's exactly what the fitness industry has become. So what I want you to understand is, when you're starting training, all you need to think about is turning up the prescribed number of days you're going to commit to. Think of it like a contract with yourself, a contract with your soul. You're in a position where you're not happy in your life. You're looking in the mirror, you're not feeling good about yourself. There's probably pains from you're moving and you're getting tight, and you're just not feeling great about yourself. So the only person who's going to get you out of that position is yourself. No one else can do it for you. There's people who can help you, but unless you're willing to do the work, you're not going to get the results. So this is the contract you got to draw up. Whatever it is, whoever your name is, will commit to 3 days training a week. 3 days, that's it. Now, 168 hours a week, you're going to take in 3, so you've got 165 hours to do your own shit. If you cannot commit to 3 hours a week, then you've got to look at yourself and actually be honest and tell yourself you're not really in that much pain, because when the pain of where you currently are is more than the pain of having to do what you meant to do, you're going to do the shit. So if you're not in that pain threshold and you find yourself lethargic again and falling into old habits, then you've got to start asking yourself, maybe there is a truth in that saying. Now, I know there's going to be trauma, I know there's going to be habitual thoughts and all, etc., but you've got to work through those. The reality is, you can commit to 3 hours a week. So that's your first thing. And for the first month, that is your goal. 3 hours a week. After a month, you can stay in the 3 hours a week, but you've also got to add in 10,000 steps a day. You've given yourself a month to commit to 3 hours, nothing else. And then after that, you're going to start adding things on to it, because you should have committed that. You've started creating a bit of a habit of turning up for 3 hours. You've probably found that you're not as bad as you thought you're going to be. The gym is losing its fear, and that you're making friends in the environment, and it's not as bad. It's actually starting to become enjoyable. You're also getting to see some shorter results. You're maybe hitting a few more push-ups. Maybe you're feeling yourself not as fatigued at the end of the program. Maybe you've lost a few pounds. Whatever it is, take them wins and really exaggerate them, rather than exaggerating the fears and the things that are going to hold you back and keep you in the position you don't want to be in. Because that's what we tend to do as humans. We tend to catastrophize everything. We tend to focus on the negative, and actually we're unwilling to accept compliments, especially if we're carrying weight and we've had that mindset for a long time. When people give you compliments, it makes you feel uncomfortable, it makes you feel threatened almost, and it's very easy to go, whoa, and pull back from that. So instead of that, When someone gives you a compliment, when someone tells you you're doing well, when someone says, hey, you're looking different, say thank you. It's that simple. Yes, it's a battle, and it is a battle for a lot of people, but try it. You'll see that soon saying thank you becomes easy, and it's not as big a deal, and it puts you in a higher vibration. So, your first month, 3 days a week training. Second month, you're going to add 10,000 steps in. Now, throughout these 2 months, I'm not going to be pushing your eating plans because I don't believe that you actually need them, and I think it sort of becomes it's like bread and jam. You know, when you start training, you start becoming more consciously aware of what you're eating, and that slowly happens. We give advice. We tell you what you should be probably considering for food wise, but if you're carrying a lot of weight and you're eating a lot of calories every day, if you think you're going to go into like a really restrictive 2,000 calorie deficit and survive and succeed, not going to happen. You've got to understand that if you're eating 5,000 calories a day, you can probably drop 1,000. You can probably drop 1,000, you know, and you'll be all right. But there is going to come a point where you're going to have to start thinking of food. And I leave that for about month 3 when we start talking about food on a serious level. Now, like I said, those first 2 months, we're giving advice. We're letting you overhear conversations we're having with more advanced members, letting you become part of the conversation organically, as opposed to hitting you for it there and then and making you feel threatened. Because a lot of people do feel threatened and overwhelmed when it comes to I've got to train, I've got to eat. This is a habit. This is about creating new habits. It's like I try to explain to people: if you've got a 1-year-old holding a set of car keys, you don't just walk up and grab the keys off the child because the child will cry. What you've got to do is you've got to distract them with something else. Hey, look at this. Give her that, and then take that off her. Take your keys off her. It's the same with us. We're small, traumatized children, and we need to be distracted. So we need to replace our habits, not just remove them. Okay, if you start removing habits, you're going to end up feeling. If you can replace a habit like for like, and you can build the same association, the same emotion, well, then you're on to a winner. And that's what you got to understand. The mind thinks, the body feels. You've got to remember that. And the more your mind thinks, the more the body feels, and that eventually that becomes an emotion, and that creates a bond. And then you'll probably find that the places you're in that cause these emotions to happen are what's going to cause the association. It's like going to the cinema, popcorn, and a Coke. You can't go to the cinema without a bag of popcorn and Coke. It just doesn't happen. The association is too strong for most people. It's the same as us. So our food, what we eat, the association, where we are, what people say, what happens to us, they're going to spark triggers, and those triggers are going to have an emotional response, and that emotional response is going to result in us doing something habitually. How many times you had a fight with a missus or something, and you need a smoke, or you need a beer, or you need chocolate, you need pizza. You know, a lot of people have better habits. They go out for a walk. That's a habit. Fuck, I need to clear my head. I need to go out for a walk. These are all habits that are emotional based. So when you understand that, you can start then being aware of what you're trying to do and actually use the logical brain as opposed to the emotional heart to make decisions for you, override these emotional responses. And when you start getting into this habit, then things will start to really happen. It's all about being emotionally aware of what you're doing. And when you can understand that, and this is why I leave the food talk for about 3 months, because food is an emotional crutch for a lot of people, me included. Chocolate is my emotional crutch, and I'd say a lot of people are like that. Let's be honest, you wouldn't send an alcoholic in the off license to get you a beer, but you will happily send your husband or your wife into the shop to buy toilet roll. No, not really realising that this alcoholic is going to be standing in a queue surrounded by giant chocolate buttons and Rebels and only £1 and all this. Of course you're going to be tempted, and that's the way they design these things. So you've got month 1, train 3 times a week, regardless what hail, rain, snow, whatever it is. You've got to turn up. You've made a commitment to yourself. It is like your baseline level. You can't refuse that. After that, after a month of that, you're going to add in your 10,000 steps every single day. Start walking 10,000 steps every day. You're doing what human beings are designed to do. We're designed to commute and walk. We follow the herds. We pack stuff up. We put them on our backs, and we walk for miles and miles and miles, following the herds, so we can feed ourselves. And then when the crops run out or the foraging run out, we move to different pastures to get more food. It's natural. And if you can do this in nature, if you can actually find a place where you're more connected to nature, you will find your vibration rising. Now, I know a lot of people are starting to actually come into the vibrational field and start understanding more about it. A lot of people still have resistance. But regardless of whether you do or not, It is a reality. We're all vibration. We all vibrate at a certain frequency, and that frequency we vibrate determines the energy we give out. That energy we give out is going to affect other people and affect ourselves. It's very simple physics, quantum physics. So we need to understand that if you're walking and you can walk in nature, because it is what we, like I said, we were designed to do, walk through nature. We're not these animals designed to live in concrete jungles. We've just adapted to this sort of four walls in the cities. But it doesn't mean it's good for our soul. It's not good for our brain. It's not good for our heart. And when you get in nature, you will start. And when you get that, that becomes an addiction. That feeling, the association that you spoke about, the association of walking in nature and feeling better, feeling more relaxed, feeling relieved of all the stresses. That is going to become a drug. That is going to become your medicine. It's going to help you to start to change your life in a way that you're making the decisions, and that's empowering. And it's all about empowerment for this type of journey. If you feel you can do something, like I said, feel. If you feel you can do something, then you're going to start wanting to do it more and more and more because it feels good. And leaving the old self behind becomes a lot easier. We find it hard to leave the old self usually because we want to hold on to the past. We want to hold on to things that are not serving us good, but are habitual and familiar. Because familiarity is safety on our nervous system, our subconscious. So we need to understand this, and we need to realise that the things we do, the things we apply, should not be seen as a chore, which a lot of us think of because we so hate our bodies, we so hate ourselves, that we can't actually let go of what we're trying to become and hold on to who we currently are. And that who we currently are isn't in love with themselves, isn't happy with themselves, and is going to automatically always fall back to the default position of I'm not good enough. We've got to remove that, and the steps we got to take through the training, through the walks, through the eating, that has got to coincide with us starting to feel better ourselves and correlate with it. So you've got to start. By the way, I'm not saying this is very simple, but it's not easy. Okay, this is your challenge, and this is why I structure my training and my methods on a system that allows people to adapt at their own pace. And that's why in Primal, we don't force diets down people's throats, and we don't force this healthy eating plan. We encourage principles, and we explain what the principles are. And if you can apply these principles in your life, they start becoming part of it, and they start controlling your actions, your day-to-day actions, just like your current habits do now. But they're of a better quality of habit that results in a better quality of you. So month 3, we start talking the food serious, and we start questioning, we start challenging, because by month 3, you're going to be used to challenges. You're going to have had this these steps towards understanding that you can achieve more than you currently believe you can, or you currently believe you could, and it's just another step on the journey towards the journey of fulfillment, or whatever it is you're wanting to call the happiness you're looking for. And that's what you want to understand. It's the body, looking at your body. You know, it'll look good when you lose a bit of weight, and you'll feel better about yourself when you see your reflection. But how you don't really start yourself on a daily basis. What's going to make you feel better is how you move. Movement is medicine. Motion is lotion. You know, all the wee quirky sayings. So the focus on mobility over the egotistical lifting is something that I tell people it should be at the forefront of your mind. Now, in the 3 sessions you're going to be training in Primal, or if you were training Primal with Primal online or whatever, there's going to be a large focus on mobility. 1, because mobility lubricates the joints. 2, it's easy to do. And 3, it has this very calming effect on you because it releases the body, it releases tension, and it allows you to sort of de-stress in a way. So those 3 things can start helping you enjoy the training. And 4, it isn't that hard. It isn't as difficult as lifting weights, and it isn't as demoralising as realising you can't handle push-ups. And the straight arm stuff, etc., is going to build up some isometric contraction through the joints, allowing you to slowly progress into the workout. The problem is how people think fitness should be, and their misconstrued idea of what fitness is, simply because the fitness industry has pushed this HIIT type training, CrossFit sort of stuff, the go hard or go home mythology that people think is what fitness is. It's not. That's a bastardized idea designed to, again, pull your emotional heartstrings. Fitness is about enabling you to do your daily tasks without undue fatigue. That's simple definition of what fitness is. You know, if I can help you with exercises that are going to allow you to walk up and down the stairs, get up and out of a chair, get on the floor, stand back up, run a bit, play with the kids, etc. If that's your baseline point, that is going to have a bigger impact in your life than whatever time your WOD is with Karen, or how many burpees you can do in a minute. All that shit's doing is showing you that you're not as good as the next person and probably leaving you feeling a bit worse. So you've got to start considering why the fitness industry is doing what they're doing. They're doing what they're doing because they've been marketed to. They've been told that this is what fitness is, so that's what they sell fitness as. And because that's what they sell fitness as, that's what you expect. And because when you don't get what you expect, you feel disappointed because you're not going to lose the weight as much as soon as possible, and you're not going to get those 6-week transformation pictures that have holding up pictures of how many pounds you've lost in 6 weeks. That external validation is what you're looking for, because that's how we live in society today. But when you remove that facade of bullshit and you understand what you're actually looking for, you're looking to feel better on a daily basis. You're looking to be able to do your daily tasks without that heaviness and that exhaustion that accompanies it because of your weight and because of how you're thinking and feeling about yourself. And when you can drop that bullshit and you can start focusing on what is actually going to help impact your life as an individual, then you're going to start empowering yourself and really making a change in your life, and ultimately the change in your kids' lives, change in your partner's lives, change in your work life, because you're going to be operating at a higher frequency. You're going to be just feeling better about yourself because the pains are going to be gone. Like, I know my hip's starting to heal up nicely now, and I'm starting to get a lot less pain. Yeah, I get some pains, but it's nowhere near what it was. And now I'm feeling so much better about myself because I'm not in that constant level of pain. So that soreness and that pain that we become accustomed to because of lack of mobility and lack of movement, that shouldn't be our everyday living. We shouldn't just accept that as normal. But we do, because it is normal for us. But when you drop that and you actually realise, you start recognising what it is you're doing to yourself, and that you're the one empowered to be able to fix it, you're going to be able to change your life completely. So month 3, when we really start ramping up the food and we really focus on mobility, we've started building a foundation of strength. But after month 3, we're going to start really pushing you on. We're going to start really putting you into the program. We're going to really start focusing on your 1RM or your 5RM, probably as a 3-monther. We'll figure out your 5RM, program everything off that for you, and show you a system that's going to gradually build you into the person you need to become, without putting you into an extreme risk of injury, and never really allowing yourself to go to that point where you absolutely fail. Because when it comes to training, I don't know why people are obsessed with finding out what their 1RM is. Because their 1 rep max, what you can lift for 1 rep completely, your absolute limit, when you test that, you're literally spending a week not improving it. A day spent testing it is a week spent not improving it. Because you're so nearly fatigued that you're exhausted and you can't lift the weights, and you're only into this workout, this training malarkey 3 months. So even though you're feeling better, you're still on the edge of being thrown. And if you have a day where you're testing your 1RM and you're absolutely exhausted, and the next week you're very flat with your training and you slip into old habits, you're going to start feeling shit about yourself. So for that reason, I like to focus people who are training 3 months on a 5RM and then do a multiplication to figure out their projected 1RM, because it still gives you a target to improve on. And then what we'll usually do is we'll work on the 70% out of that number, and we'll increase that range, allowing you to slowly but methodically swallow up what was once your 5RM so it becomes your 70 percentile, and we just continue on with that. And maybe 6 months down the line we'll test again, and we'll test again another 6 months later. And that is how we work in Primal, because to be honest with you, when you're 40 plus and you're fatigued and you're stressed and you're overweight and you're not happy how you look, move and feel, and you're not really after the 6-pack look because you don't believe you can get it, this is the system that works. As long as you allow it to work, it works. And it gives you the opportunity to always leave the workout feeling like you've achieved something. It's designed to allow no matter who you are, to leave the gym feeling better than you left. And again, that is important, because that's the association you're going to start building. When you leave the mind thinking, I achieved something, you're going to feel something better about yourself. You're going to feel like that, and that association of going to that gym is going to start building that emotional response as to why you left the gym feeling great. And if you can continue that onwards, forward, and keep push that, extrapolate it out 3 months, 6 months, a year, you're going to be a completely different person than you are the guy who started. The guy who was doubtful, the guy who was worried about stepping in the gym for the first time, who didn't know what to expect, didn't believe he could achieve it. You're going to go through a journey, and like I tell so many people, it's that journey that's the most important part. Yes, you're going to have stop-off points in that year-long journey. It's going to happen. You may pick up an injury. You may slip into old habits. You may lose your mojo. Something may happen in your family that puts you off for a while. But when you extrapolate it out to a year, it allows you to figure in the chances of a few failures and learning from those failure points, as opposed to a 6-week journey where if you fail once and you step off for 3-4 days, you've really sabotaged the whole 6 weeks. And that makes you feel bad about yourself because you've actually failed. If you get a year, if you're there for a year-long period, then the year-long is your marking point. It's not even your finish point, it's your first marker point. And when you get to that, then you can look back and you can go to yourself, I have changed a human being. And if you've changed a human being in 1 year, you've then got the tangible evidence to then start extrapolating that out to 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Who will I be if I continue this journey going? Like I said before, if you just step 1 degree and then you start doing that, well, the longer you go in that 1 degree angle off where you would usually be, it means you're going to be so much further away from that person you were that soon you can't see that person, you can't remember what he was like, and you can't understand how you allowed yourself to get to that point. But you're just grateful that you and you alone have achieved this journey that's shown you that you can achieve so much more in your life. And so many people who do achieve their body goals and their mental goals do go on to improve other aspects of their life because they've got the evidence that they needed, that they are not who they thought they were, and they have got the ability to achieve more. And that is why I speak so much about mindset and training, and why I link it together so much, because it is brain jam. Do you know, when you have a coach who can see what you're like as a person and push the buttons to make you step up and to go to that next level, to challenge yourself that wee bit more, and just by simply stepping into your comfort zone that few inches and just continue that few inches until that becomes your comfort, and let it slowly build in through conversation, through exercise, through proof. It's invaluable, and it can change your life if you're willing to drop the story and drop the narrative you hold on to that keeps you where you currently are. But anyway, I'll stop rabbiting on. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all tomorrow.